Hello, I'm Steve Shaw, National Coordinator of Football Officials and Secretary of Rules Editor for the NCAA. And today we're continuing our series of media videos for 2024, and we're going to be focused on game action from Week 12. Now, before we get into our plays, I want to report out on our fouls. In total, we're averaging 14.3 fouls called per game, and that's very consistent over the past 3 years. So what has changed? False start used to be our number one penalty. But this year, offensive holding, that's our number one foul, representing 17.4% of all calls made. False start is number two, and it represents 16.2% of all fouls called. Defensive pass interference is number three, representing 8.5% of the fouls. And then finally, offside on the defense is 7.7% of the fouls. So if you put these four categories together, offensive holding, false start, defensive pass interference, and offside on the defense, that represents 49.8% of all fouls called. That's right at 50% of all of our fouls fall into those four categories. So with that, let's get on into our plays. Our first play this week, we're in the second possession series of the first overtime. The score is tied, and the offense sets up to try a game-winning field goal. Now we see the snap. It's going to sail over the holder's head. There's a dash for the ball, and we see number 24 for the defense. He's going to kick the ball, then he recovers it and goes in for a potential touchdown. Now we've got a flag down on the play, and by rule, if you intentionally kick a loose ball, it is a foul for illegally kicking the ball. So the touchdown for the defense is going to come off the board. There's a 10-yard penalty, which will be half the distance in this case, and it will be enforced from the previous spot. And the yardage will give the offense a first down, and they'll continue their possession series in overtime. The judgment on these plays, if the kick is accidental, it's no foul. But if the kick is intentional, as we saw here, it is a foul. Play two, the offense has 4th and 6, and they begin to line up as if they're going to punt. Now, they snap it to the up back, who hands off to the back lined up right next to him, who's squatted down. And the play goes for a long gain and ultimately a touchdown, but there's a flag on the play. Now, by rule, the offense must have 5 players numbered 50 to 79 on the line of scrimmage at the snap. But there's an exception that if the offense is lined up in a scrimmage kick formation, then they're not required to have the 5 guys 50 to 79 on the line. And the reason for this exception is that punt teams typically want speedy, more mobile players covering kicks, and these players are typically not numbered 50 to 79. And so the scrimmage kick formation gives them the opportunity to make this change. Now, to be in scrimmage kick formation, the offense must have at least one player 10 or more yards behind the neutral zone, which they have here, but they have to have no player in position to receive a hand-to-hand snap. And then the key words, it must be obvious that a kick may be attempted. Now, as we look at the formation, number 24, he may not have his hands under the center, but he's in a direct line of the snap. And in fact, the snapper probably couldn't snap it to the punter even if he wanted to. So since this player is in line for the snap, then by interpretation, it's not obvious a kick may be attempted. And if the team is not considered in scrimmage kick formation, then they must have 5 players numbered 50 to 79 on the line. And as you can see, they don't have those players. So the formation is not legal, resulting in a 5-yard penalty on the offense. Play 3, we see number 86 for the offense. He's going to come back toward the quarterback in motion. He gets the ball. He's then going to lose it. The ball's going to go downfield, and ultimately it's going to be recovered by the defense. Now, as we go back and take a look at the action between the quarterback and number 86, we see that the quarterback actually flips the ball into the air, and number 86 tries to catch the flip. This type action by the quarterback, this short flip of the ball, is considered a legal forward pass. And because number 86 never had firm control of the ball and did not complete the catch, this is considered an incomplete forward pass. And replay does come in and correctly makes this an incomplete forward pass. And the play is dead where the ball first hit the ground. Play 4 is action that will help define and answer questions concerning the pull and shoot. Now, we see that the offense, they're lined up to attempt an extra point. Defender, number 58, he's going to break through the line in an attempt to block the kick. But as we go back and take a look at the action on how he got there, we see that defender, number 94, he's going to reach out, grab the offensive right guard, pull him forward and out of the way, creating a gap where number 58 tries to shoot through in order to block the kick. This is clearly a foul by number 94 of the defense as he holds and pulls forward an opponent. In this type similar action on punt plays, the pull and shoot would be a foul as well. Play 5, we're deep into the fourth quarter. The offense elects to go for 2 on their extra point. And as we know, the try is from the 3-yard line, but the offense elects to relocate the ball to the left hash, and they will snap there. Now, the quarterback drops back. He looks for a receiver. He's going to throw deep into the end zone to an open receiver. The receiver makes the catch with feet in bounds, but there's a flag down. And as we go back and take a look at the receiver, we see that he steps out of bounds on his own in the back of the end zone, returns in bounds, and makes the catch. We get an excellent announcement from our referee.
Illegal touching on the offense, number 14. He went out of bounds on his own. The return was the first to touch the pass. That is a loss of down. Therefore, by rule, the try is no good.
So anytime there is a penalty that carries a loss of down component in an extra point situation, the offense loses their opportunity to repeat the down, and so the try is over, no score. One final note as we look back at the All-22 camera. We see that the field judge, he throws his hat signifying the receiver went out of bounds, and then he threw his flag when the receiver first touched the ball. He made the judgment that the receiver went out of bounds on his own. There's some contact with the defender, but the receiver was in bounds just after the contact and stepped out of bounds on his own as he worked down the back of the end zone. Our last play this week, we're going to discuss another element of the substitution process. Now, the offense substitutes on this play. The referee goes into the tee, signifying that the defense has the opportunity to match up with the offense's substitution. Now, we see the defense, they send in 2 players. These players come in, but already are lacking a sense of urgency. But the defenders leaving the game, they really just dawdle and loaf about as they head back to their sideline, especially number 51. We see that the referee releases the center judge, and then number 51 picks up the pace, but he's still on the field at the snap, and there's a flag for a substitution infraction on the defense. By rule, if the offense substitutes, the defense is protected and allowed to place their substitutes in position, and the replaced players are allowed to leave the field. But the rule further states that the defense must react promptly, and the guidance the referees are given, if the defense does lollygag around, the referee will judge the window that the substitution should have been completed, and at that point will release the center judge, and the offense is allowed to snap the ball. If more than 11 are on the field at the snap for the defense, then it's a foul. Well, that's it for our plays this week. We thank you for watching, and we also appreciate your feedback, and that's very helpful as we drive through the last couple weeks of our regular season. Best of luck to all.